The class of 2017's commencement speaker is Maurice Dusault. Maurice is graduating today with a Bachelor of Business Administration degree in Strategic Design and Management from Parsons. Among the things that is especially remarkable about Maurice, in so very new school, is that he is truly a global citizen. I think he's going to tell us more about that and how it has influenced his perspective as a student and a design strategist in his remarks. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Maurice Dusault.
Wow, well, here we are, Arthur Ashe Stadium. Who knew that this would be the place where we would have our final step of our new school journey? So we've worked incredibly hard over the past few years, so let's give it up one more time for the graduating class of 2017. And on behalf of all of those graduating students here today, I want to extend my deepest gratitude to all the faculty and staff at the new school for guiding us and for inspiring us through our journey. And of course, I want to thank our friends and our families who have supported us unconditionally over the past few years. We really wouldn't be here if it weren't for all of you. So, if my unidentifiable yet subtle accent hasn't given it away already, I'm not from around here. I was born in the small, cold, which doesn't sound so bad now, and rainy country of the Netherlands, but spent my entire life living abroad. Woo! Dutch people in the audience. I've never met you yet. But I've spent my entire life living abroad since the age of 8 months old. Before moving to the US, I had the pleasure of living in South Korea, Italy, Switzerland, and China. I grew up around the world and was constantly exposed to different cultures, different perspectives, different ways of life. And as a child, I adapted quickly. If you asked me where home was or where I was from, I would have given you a different answer depending on when you asked me. Once, I even managed to convince my elementary school in the Netherlands into thinking I was Italian for 3 whole years. I always knew I wanted to pursue something creative, but that didn't always work out. In my last 2 years of high school in China, I really wanted to take this theater class. But it turned out that out of 50 or so kids, only one, me, applied, and of course the class was dropped. So I ended up settling for the next best thing, economics, which actually I ended up liking a lot and probably explains why I chose to pursue a business degree at a design school. As I wrapped up high school, I quickly realized that after all of this traveling, I couldn't return to the Netherlands. Despite my passport saying that the Netherlands was my home, I didn't feel at home. After all, I'd only lived there for 4 years, and as my mom keeps reminding me, my Dutch apparently isn't so great either. I needed to find a place where I would continue to stay exposed to these different cultures and perspectives. A place where others and I could finally express ourselves and our creativity freely. And I found that place here at the new school. We have always been and will always be a sanctuary for the free and creative spirit, a safe haven for individuals who not only dare to think different, but be different. Just like the city that houses it, the new school truly is a melting pot of cultures. Individuals from all over the country and all over the world come here to express themselves and their creativity. And it is exactly this coming together of the different minds with the mutual understanding of respect that creates a discourse which makes this place so special. But let's be brutally honest. A lot has changed in the global community over the past few years. We had no idea that we would be graduating in a moment of tremendous political, social, and environmental instability. National and international politics have shifted. Whilst for centuries it feels like we've been building bridges, now we're opting for walls instead. Walls not just around nations, but around people in our community. And on top of that, we have an Earth in crisis, an Earth that is sending us warning after warning that we need to change our ways. And yet, it seems like no one is listening. But you know what? I'm confident and optimistic because New School students don't just watch events unfold and accept things as they are. We do something about it. Where others see crises, we see opportunities for meaningful change. Now, this spirit is deeply rooted in our DNA. When you read our founding principles written nearly 100 years ago, you realize that our school was founded around the idea of examining the existing world and imagining a desired world. Here, we've learned how the world works. We see these systems, these gears that make the world turn. And the school didn't just make these inner workings visible to us, they gave us a platform to respond to these and be critical. And the moment you have that freedom to be critical about the inner workings of the world is the moment you truly become a participant in shaping the world. After growing up in environments where one couldn't always say what they were thinking, where even Facebook and the New York Times were blocked, coming to the New School with all of you was electrifying and empowering. Seeing the passionate rallies at our schools, the signs proudly hanging out our windows as protests streamed up Fifth Avenue, seeing you stand up for what you believe in, and not just expressing your opinions, but acting upon them, has been awe-inspiring. Now, no matter if you study to be a musician, a performer, a journalist, designer, artist, researcher, thinker, economist, politician, or an advocate, this principle of examining the existing and imagining the desired bind us together as a community. On top of that, we've been encouraged not to hide away in our own departments and schools, but instead, we've been encouraged to work across disciplines and work with people who see the world differently in order to experiment and take risks. I've seen my peers reimagine sustainable fashion by literally growing their own textiles. Communities that creatively tackle the most pressing social justice issues of our times. Sustainable business models that imagine how a product can be reborn after its use. Creative workshops that aim to foster a deeper understanding of disenfranchised cultures. Photojournalists that go to the heart of a conflict to document human stories. We've all contributed to the legacy of the New School, and we must continue to do so, especially now. To not just redesign objects, but redesign systems in order to create a more just, a more sustainable, and a more resilient world for all. Although we may be leaving the doors of the New School, we will never leave behind its spirit, our spirit, the spirit of inclusivity, collaboration, and critical thinking, the spirit of creativity. After years of trying to figure out where I belong, where home was, I finally realized that it isn't necessarily what your passport says, where you were born, or even where your bed is. Instead, it is where you're accepted. And I, like many others, found that home here, with all of you, at the New School. Thank you.